So if I was Betty Glover for one day, what would I do? It's a brilliant question.
God, I don't want to know what you would do.
No, it would fascinate me. I would write everything down. I'm just fascinated by your thought process. I'm fascinated by what comes into your head at any given time. I'd just be fascinated to know what happens in Betty Glover's head.
You wouldn't want to come in my head, honestly.
Moving on. Moving on. Moving on.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Fast and the Curious. It is Betty Glover here, along with the one and only Christian Hugill. Christian, how are you?
Do you know what? I'm well. All the better for you being back. It's lovely to see you, my friend.
I know. I'm sorry I've missed the last two episodes. You've had some brilliant guests on, though. So, you know, it's been all right, hasn't it?
We've had Molly. We've had Matt. And you're busy working. You're in actual Saudi Arabia. How are you getting on?
Yeah, I'm in Saudi. Yeah, fine. Do you know what? It's so hot here that it's just like you can't think. You can't actually walk outside. 45 degrees today. Actually, is it 45? Might be a bit more.
Let's get a live weather update now from Betty Glover.
44 degrees today.
Oh, positively chilly. At least it's not 45.
Do you know what? You can't walk out on the floor without shoes on. I did it the other day. I burnt my foot. And do you know what? Later, this is actually it's really exciting, riveting. I am going to take an egg to the pool and I'm going to try and see if I can fry it on the floor.
I don't think I've ever done that before.
Yeah, but I think it's going to work.
And how are you going? Oh, you're going to fry it. I was going to say you're going to scramble it.
No. So I'm just going to crack it. I'm just going to crack the egg on the floor and I'm going to see if it will cook because it's so hot on the floor that I think it will work.
I cooked an egg in the air fryer once.
Did you?
Yeah, it worked out really well. You like put a shallow pool of water at the bottom of the air fryer and you can poach it with a little plastic thing.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I tried to do it in the microwave the other day and that did not work.
Oh, my dad does that. It's abhorrent. Don't cook eggs. Also, they stink.
I tried to poach it in the microwave because I just didn't really know what else to do. Anyway, should we talk about Formula One?
If you like, but I think I could do a whole podcast on eggs.
Yeah, I absolutely love an egg.
I love an egg. So many ways of cooking them.
They're just so versatile, Christian.
It's literally what I was about to say.
Yeah.
And who was the first person to go, why don't we eat this? That was a brave move. That could have gone wrong.
Could have gone really wrong. Should I tell you who we sound like right now?
Who?
Alex Albon. He's the sort of person we'd start interviewing and he'd be like, he'd love this chat.
This is peak Albon chat, this is, isn't it? We keep saying, and we'll make this happen one day, we're going to do a podcast with Alex one day and just not talk about Formula One. Formula One chat will be banned and we'll just do...
I mean, we barely talk about F1 with him anyway.
Greg James does a whole feature on Radio 1, Egg Chat, because he does the song, Egg Chat, baby, Egg Chat.
Egg Chat.
Woo!
Aww.
Oh, we've stolen Egg Chat from Greg. Oh, he'll be pleased about that. Right, yeah, let's talk about Formula One, shall we?
Yeah, so coming up, we're gonna preview the Hungarian Grand Prix. We're gonna answer all of your questions because we've got quite a few in actually on our social media. And something is happening that Christian isn't telling me about, which is making me feel really nervous.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. You don't know about this. Producer Will doesn't know about this. I did text producer Jimmy about this, and he's not responded yet. Oh no, he has responded yet. I'm gonna see. Carry on, do the bit. He just.
But what has he said? Is he
I texted him something, and Jimmy's gone, why would I know that?
Oh Jesus Christ! What is it? Are you quizzing me? Because I absolutely hate quizzes. I don't partake in quizzes.
I couldn't possibly reveal, but yeah, you carry on, and I'll carry on texting Jimmy and see what his reaction is to this particular podcast feature.
Oh no, it's going to be a quiz, and I really don't want to do a quiz, unless it's about eggs. I could answer some questions about eggs.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Anyway, I think I want to start by talking about Max Verstappen, Christian, because the rumor mill or the F1 grapevine or whatever you want to call it is very adamant that he is going to be staying at Red Bull for 2026, right? Apparently he doesn't want to leave for a variety of reasons. What do you think about this? Are you surprised by this?
Yeah, the reason this has all cropped up is because the F1 rumour mill has pretty much decided as fact that part of Max Verstappen's contract was if he finished outside the top three in the Drivers' Championship going into the summer break, then the clause in his contract for 2026 at Red Bull would be activated, meaning Mercedes could effectively swoop in and sign him. People have been like, well, Mercedes aren't going to pay the ludicrous amount of money it would take to nick him from the contract, to buy him out of the contract. So because he's now pretty much mathematically guaranteed to go into the summer break in third in the championship, Red Bull aren't going to lose him. And that's why we found the language over the course of the last Grand Prix weekend was much more Toto being like, yeah, we're going to stick with George and Kimi. It's like, well, this can't really happen now in theory. So I think that's why we're going to get George and Kimi at Mercedes next year, and Max is going to stay at Red Bull.
I'll move on to George and Kimi in a second, but do you think this is the right thing for Max? Do you think he'll be happy with this? Because obviously everything that's happened at Red Bull, but then also there's lots of rumours that Red Bull aren't going to have, the best engine or the whatever for 2026. So is it a good idea for Max to stay?
I think it's not a bad idea. I don't think Red Bull will have the quickest car next year for two reasons. I think they've lost too many good people around them. I think Christian Horner had probably lost track of how to improve the car, which was a massive part of the reason he got sacked. I just can't see Red Bull being the quickest car next season. The engine thing is interesting. Ultimately, with these new engines coming in, we don't know who's going to be the fastest engine until we get to the first race of next season. There'll be pre-season testing. We just don't know. But lots of paddock rumours are suggesting Mercedes have always been leading the way on development. Mercedes are in a very good place to, they've got the facilities and infrastructure to adjust to new rules very well. I think Ford coming into Red Bull is brilliant for the sport, a massive brand like Ford. I'm really excited by it, but it wouldn't be unreasonable to think it might take them a bit of time to catch up because they're new. Same with Audi. Ultimately, we don't know, but to answer your question, Betty, I don't think it's particularly harmful for Max to stay with the status quo for one more season. Look at how the running order, the lineup, the pecking order shapes up for the first season and the new rule set, and then make a decision long term.
Yeah, because he can basically look at everything, evaluate where he wants to go, and then make his decision. Because ultimately, we hear so much about, Mercedes are going to have the best engine, blah, 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 blah. But we don't really know. No one
we don't know for
really
sure.
knows.
No,
so
absolutely.
I take your point. I agree. What do you think about George and Kimi then for Mercedes? Do you think Toto Wolff has got that perfect lineup for
I think he's got a great lineup. Yeah, I think he's got a great lineup. I think if Mercedes do, like McLaren have found themselves in the position where they've got the quickest car. And last year, did they have a driver who could fight for the championship? Well, yes-ish, but Lando, by his own admission, wasn't operating at Max's level last year. I think Lando's leveled up in the winter, sorry. We know Oscar's massively leveled up, and McLaren are sat there going, yeah, we're happy we've got two drivers that can fight for a title. I think Mercedes have definitely got one. I think George Russell, almost not enough's made of the fact that he beat Lewis Hamilton, I think, in 2 of their 3 seasons together. Someone will pick me up in the comments if that's wrong. And this year, I think, again, he's leveled up again. I think we're seeing peak George Russell. I do really believe that George has never had the car to fight for a championship while being at Mercedes. He was really unfortunate with when he replaced Valtteri Bottas. It sort of coincided with Mercedes not being able to fight for the championship anymore. I think Mercedes owe it George. I think George would be a real early favourite for the title next year if the rumour mill carries on going the way. And me and Molly talked about this a little bit on the last episode, Betty, that I'm not particularly worried about Kimi Antonelli. He had such a good start to his Formula One career. Yes, there's been a bit of a dip, but George has said, we think we've gone in the wrong direction car development-wise. George has got so much more experience handling tricky cars, and I don't think it's a coincidence that that's sort of coincided with Kimi's shakier form. So, no, I think we've seen enough from Kimi to suggest he's going to be absolutely fine. I'm not worried about Kimi Antonelli.
Do you know what? For the people that are starting to question Kimi, I just think, what planet are you on? Because he started his time in F1 so well.
He was actually only 7 years of age.
But he secured 5 point finishes in his first 6 races. He had a podium in Canada, and that was in June. Obviously, he's going through this little bit of a patch at the moment. I think maybe the pressure is getting to him, lack of results, but he's 18 years old.
I don't think it's a massive pressure thing. I think it's more. Well, no, actually, I'm wrong there. You saw at one point it all get a bit much for him during the weekend last weekend. So you're right. I suppose what I'm saying is I think the bigger thing is this car's become a lot more difficult to handle. George is finding that. And if George is going from knocking on the doors of wins and podiums to, as I say, I think he was 5th last time out, then what's it going to have on a rookie who is so inexperienced in driving Formula One cars? So I think Mercedes are fine next year, but I still see Max leaving Red Bull long term. I still don't think he's staying there.
Sorry, just to go back to Kimi one second. I think also he struggled at his home Grand Prix, and he struggled with the amount. I think he's come out and he said he struggled with the amount of like build up he had, like the amount of media he had to do, all the things he had to do before his home Grand Prix, and that was like his first home Grand Prix as well. The pressure that you must be under. He's also doing his school exams still. Let's not forget that. Like, it's a lot for an 18-year-old kid, and I love the fact that Lewis Hamilton has come out and he said, "I think Kimi's doing great. No one should worry about Kimi. He's doing so well. He's brilliant." I just think that's class from Lewis Hamilton.
I mean, Lewis is just class, isn't he? Lewis just is class, yeah. And I agree, because really, in terms of a driver coming into a car so competitive at such a young age, this is probably the most recent example since Lewis himself at McLaren in 2008. So Lewis gets it. And Lewis had also, back in those days, you were able to do a lot more testing. Lewis had had a lot more mileage under his belt before going into that car up against Fernando Alonso back in the day. He was much more oven ready. So yeah, Lewis is just a class up. But no, I think it's logical. Max gets to see where the lay of the land is, because who knows? You know, what if Red Bull surprised us and actually really did pull it out the bag next year? This is a team that shouldn't be underestimated. They've done it before.
100%. And it's Max.
Yeah, exactly. And Mercedes have got a great driver lineup. So no, and we know Ferrari do too, and also Ferrari can never be counted out, because, as you know, they've got engine building heritage. So really, if you look at the top 4 teams, their lineups will stay the same into next season, and they've all got. I think they've all got lineups that go. We've got people who can fight. Obviously, Red Bull have got the big question of the second seat, but you know they know they've got someone that can fight for a title in Max Verstappen, should that car be ready and able to do so.
I wonder whether that second seat issue is going to sort of be okay now going forward, considering all the changes that Red Bull have had.
Yuki definitely had a better weekend last weekend. He late on across the weekend got upgrades to the car. It's something I'm really looking forward to in this Hungarian Grand Prix weekend, because I firmly believe Yuki would have finished in the points had Red Bull had pitted him a lap earlier when the track started to change weather conditions. If they'd have pitted him the same lap as Max, I think we'd have seen Yuki finished in the points. He had to do an extra lap on the wrong tyres. So that's a really interesting thing to look out for this weekend, as to Yuki going into it. But and also just briefly on that, in terms of things I'm looking forward to this weekend, every single weekend is crucial to the title now. It's so close between those two.
It's so good.
So good. So again, right from minute one, we're going to be seeing who's got the edge over Lando and Oscar this weekend. There's so much to look forward to.
Yeah, we're gonna talk more in depth on the Hungarian Grand Prix in a moment. But given me and you are reunited this week, we've wanted to throw open our inbox for you to ask us some questions. Okay, the listeners have asked us loads of questions. Some of them are really good, some of them are awful. So let's get into it.
I'm interested to know which ones you think are awful, but fine.
I'll let you know.
All right.
Esgreeman95 says, do you think we will have any more crazy leavings during the summer? Do you know, I can't actually speak today because I'm so tired. So bear with me, everybody.
Also, no disrespect to Esgreeman95. Leavings isn't necessarily the most natural word to say. I think they mean departures, don't they?
Departures. Are we going to have any more ridiculous departures during the summer break?
It's another thing to look out for this weekend is the performance of Franco Colapinto. Molly on the last episode said it's probably really been worse since Franco has stepped into the car than Jack Doohan, which, yeah, so we don't like, do we, Betty?
We knew that it was a weird thing to
Well,
change.
not having a winter is a really tricky thing, not having pre-season testing. Franco's never had a stable environment to come into a car because, he replaced Logan mid-season. Now he's replaced Jack mid-season. Utmost sympathy to Franco, and I hope, he gets the opportunity one day to have a proper winter, a proper run-up to getting a seat, some stability.
Because
But
he's
it
clearly a
hasn't.
good driver, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's got the talent.
but he hasn't. I don't think he's quite shown enough personally. And if you're knowing how Flavio Briatore operates, I think he'll be that determined to not finish last in the Constructors' Championship that I can see a change happening there. I think if they, I think Jack was operating at a higher level, and I would be tempted to. I think they owe it to Jack Doohan. I would be tempted to bring back Jack Doohan. I think it seems the most likely scenario, unless they can. The thing is, I'm fully expecting Valtteri Bottas to sign to Audi for next season. Would Audi want, or would Alpine want rather, a driver who's going to another team coming into the camp for a year to learn some of the secrets ahead of going to a new team? Possibly not. If they could get an experienced driver on loan, it would help them, because I think you need experience to improve that car. Jack has got a lot more test driver experience than Franco. He's been around the team a lot longer. It would help. A Bottas would help. Zhou Guanyu from Ferrari's test driver. Just they need to, for me, Checo. They need a bit of experience. Nobody seems to be talking too much about Checo getting into that.
Yeah, what's Checo doing?
No, not a lot, I don't think. So again, linked with I think I said Audi earlier for the Bottas rumours. I actually meant Cadillac, forgive me. So yeah, I think both Bottas and Perez have been linked to Cadillac. So yeah, I don't know. Listen, that, to answer the question, is the change I expect to see during the summer break. I don't expect to see any more.
I just do you not think that maybe they should just stay consistent for a bit and just work with their drivers and stop chopping and changing?
Potentially, yes, but the question was, what do I think will happen? And I think Flavio Briatore will chop and change. So potentially, yes. I mean, I'm not saying what I'd do if I was in charge. I'm saying what I think will happen, and I think Flavio is the chop and change sort, as he's already put, and I think they will want to break glass in case of emergency to not finish last in the Constructors.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, Little Loot, I don't know if I've said that right, says, do you think the Hamilton performance last week is an indicator of things to improve?
Yeah, I do. And I think Silverstone was. I think the way he handled the Ferrari, which was being a nightmare at Silverstone compared to Charles, just showed you how well he did at Silverstone. Yes, he couldn't get Nico for a podium. And it's bizarre to say, oh, all right, Lewis Hamilton of Ferrari wasn't able to pass Nico Hülkenberg and a Sauber for a podium, but I still actually think it was a decent race for him. I think you have to look at the context of the weekend, look at the context of what Charles was doing. So I actually think there's been quite a bit of, because also there was a fourth in Austria as well. I do actually think we're seeing real green shoots of recovery from Lewis Hamilton. And I think I'm not too worried about the spins in qualifying. And listen, people can get caught out in qualifying in this qualifying format. I don't think the two dodgy qualifying performances are too much to worry about. I'm judging it mostly on the race where Lewis was amazing. So, yes, it's going to be really interesting to see how he adapts in the second half of the season. It's another thing to look out for this weekend. And it will be most interesting to see, he is coming into the end of this Ferrari iteration. It will be fascinating next year to see the car when Charles and Lewis have got equal run at a new car, how he operates then. But yeah, I do think we're seeing some encouraging signs for Lewis Hamilton. There's been times I was accused earlier in the season of being too harsh on Lewis. But actually, earlier in the season, I was just a bit like, I expected more from Lewis Hamilton here. And I was a bit worried about him. I'm less worried about him now. I think he's really improving. So yeah, I think he is improving.
He was also talking, wasn't he, about the fact that he's got his new data engineer and that they were sort of learning to adapt. I know he's been with this guy before in the past, but they were also sort of learning to adapt during that race. And he was saying he was finding that hard.
That's an interesting one because Ferrari haven't given the specifics on this. but it's not replacing Ricky, his race engineer, but there's a new person around him, a new person to help him crunch the data, crunch the numbers. So yeah, and listen, Lewis will want to keep building that and moving that and changing that. So he's still got it. He may not be peak Lewis Hamilton anymore, but he's still got it. So another thing to look out for this weekend in Hungary, another thing to look out for post-summer break.
Andy asks this question, and it's a good one. He said, I've watched F1 for 30 years. I still don't understand how getting a toe is good, but getting dirty air is bad.
It's a classic question. We get it at least once a season. It's a classic. Now, let me do my best to explain it. When you are on a straight, if you tuck in behind someone, you get what is known as a slipstream. The air moves almost to one side. You can tuck in behind the car in front of you. You get an advantage. It's called a slipstream. The air moves around you. Why does that become a dirty air? That's what the slipstream is, effectively what we call the toe. Well, why and when does that become dirty air? The simple answer is it becomes dirty air when you're on corners, when you're on parts of the track that are moving left to right, because what that does is when the Formula One car bursts into the air, it makes the air that it comes out behind it turbulent. It makes it dirty. It makes it messy. If you saw the air lines on a straight, they would be beautifully straight and moving out to the side of the car, enabling me to tuck in behind. If you're on a corner, the lines would be wiggly. The air is moving everywhere. It makes it incredibly hard to follow behind you. So think of it like this. On a straight, you are getting a toe. That is good. On a corner, you're getting dirty air that is bad. The best way to describe it is like turbulence on an aeroplane. That is when you're...
On an aeroplane.
Aeroplane. On an aeroplane. A bit Jeremy Vine there on BBC Radio 2, who is I got accused of forgetting I'm talking to a global audience last week, and now I'm doing an impression of a niche British radio presenter. Jeremy Vine. Radio 2 is the Beverly Sisters. No, if you're on a plane... then when you move into turbulence, that is dirty air. That's when the air's all wiggly and the plane moves up and down. So yeah, toe on a straight, on a slipstream, on a straight, you're not getting that on a corner. That's where it becomes dirty air. Betty, does that make sense to you?
It makes sense to me, and I hope it makes sense to Andy. Andy, I hope you now understand.
Thank you for your question, Andy.
It to you for the first time in 30 years.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Andy. I can't do it.
Here's Dolly Parton.
Oh, Jesus. Right, go on, ask the next one, Christian.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing this one. I love this. This is Christian's question of the week. If you were each other for one day, what would you do? Can I go first? So if I was Betty Glover for one day, what would I do? It's a brilliant question.
God, I don't want to know what you would do.
No, it would fascinate me. I would write everything down. I'm just fascinated by your thought process. I'm fascinated by what comes into your head at any given time, because your brain moves so fast. It's like excitement and things, and it's like and it's brilliant and it's infectious, and it's why we're such good friends. But I'd be just fascinated to know the words that come into your head, and I'd just write them all down just so it's there for prosperity. Or create like an audio diary. I'd just be fascinated to know what happens in Betty Glover's head.
You wouldn't want to come in my head, honestly.
Moving on. Moving on. Staying in.
Also, sorry, just on my brain, right? You are right. Like, it is all over the shop. I struggle to concentrate, whatever. But I did this thing yesterday, where you basically have to drive a car with your brain. So you put this thing around your head, and it like measures your loads of different things going on. And it's all about your concentration and your attention. So this is what like professional gamers have to do to measure their attention span, right? So you have to watch this car, and the more attention you spend to the car, the faster it will go around the track, right? As soon as you start thinking about something else, the car just stops. Right. So I was doing this yesterday, and I was racing this lad, and I was like, I am going to be absolutely terrible. I was brilliant.
Amazing. Well done, mate. So there you go.
Thank you. The guy couldn't eat. The guy's car kept stopping. He couldn't do it, and he was a professional gamer.
Also, go back to season 1 of The Fast and the Curious. People who've been with us from the start, we went on the sim and got some coaching from Logan Sargent at Williams. And you were so terrible, it was untrue. And
so
you kept forgetting to brake. And Logan,
No.
love.
What I kept doing, Christian, is I kept accelerating into the corner.
Yeah.
Can you remember? So I was instead of braking as you go into a corner, I was putting my foot down.
I also seem to remember Logan having to say to you, don't just put the foot on the brake once, like keep it down.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah. So anyway, you were so terrible, but side of personal growth, you beat celebrity television and radio presenter Roman Kemp on a sim the other day, didn't you?
Absolutely smashed him out the park. I've just got really good at sim racing now.
Great.
I don't know why. I don't know where it's come from, but I understand it now. So there we go.
Would you what would you do if you were me? Yeah.
So I think I would go to like London Pride or Manchester Pride, and
I'm going to Brighton Pride this weekend. I'm going to Brighton Pride this weekend.
I would go to Brighton Pride as you and have the best time of my entire life. I think it would be great.
So you'd just be gay, basically, is what you're saying?
Well, I'd be Christian gay Hugo.
Excellent. Great.
Yeah.
Great
but how fun would that be?
Just mince
really
about for the day.
And because also, like, you're very serious when you do, like, your F1 stuff, obviously.
I'm a serious professional broadcaster. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But when you're out and about living your best gay life, you are like quality.
Camp it up a bit.
You are so funny. Yeah, camp it up.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, listen,
I would go do that.
Not always entirely on camp on this podcast, but yeah, that's a really good answer. I thought you'd take the mick out of me and say you'd go and buy a model car or something.
No, I don't like model cars, so I wouldn't do that. That would be my worst nightmare. So no, I would stay away from that.
I also, since you've been in Saudi Arabia, I've got into Lego. We need to talk about that. Anyway, let's not do that now because we're getting distracted. Jess's
Lauren Hemp
question.
from the Lionesses loves Lego. So
I love it.
If she likes
really
it,
got into this. I've really got into this. Read Jess's question.
Okay. After Spa being such a dull race, is it right that it moves out to being rotated in and out?
Yeah, so if you didn't know this, the new Belgian Grand Prix at Spa contract means it's held on a rotational basis as part of its contract extension through to 2031. It means the race will not be held every year, but it will be included in the F1 calendar 4 out of 6. So Spa will host races in 2026, 7, 9 and 31. Basically, I don't think Spa's the problem. We've had a few, Matt said this on the podcast on Thursday last week, we've had a few dull races at Spa. I think that's more because it is difficult for these cars to follow. And part of the new rules in 2026 means that we should get cars that can follow each other better, getting better overtaking opportunities at races like Spa, because it is quite hard to overtake on the long straight. It's almost too long. So I think, to answer the question, it's the cars that are the problem, not necessarily tracks like Spa. And actually, the next question we've got is on a really similar line to this.
Yeah, so this is from Rosie. She says, hello guys, love your work. Thank you very much, Rosie. As a relatively new fan, the podcast has been great in educating me about F1 and bringing some fun to the sport. But this is a genuine question. I'm not sure if I'm missing something. After Spa, a lot of the rhetoric in the media has been about the FIA and not having wet races anymore. I know it was a few weeks in between, but didn't we just come off the back of a wet race at Silverstone? Is there a difference in the two that I'm not quite getting?
It's a really good question, and I got loads of questions about this during the last Grand Prix weekend. Right, Silverstone, we did have a wet race, but it was a pretty good balance because it wasn't too wet. Historically, F1 fans look forward to the race being wet because it's fun, but we've got a particular problem with this particular era of car that, because they are ground effect, because they're so low to the ground, they throw up so much spray. So the difference, Rosie, is Silverstone, it wasn't quite as wet, so we were able to do most of the running. There was a feeling at Silverstone that they allowed them to go racing too soon because there was a crash immediately after the restart where I think it was Isaac Hadjia said, I literally couldn't see the person in front of me. That is why they were cautious in restarting the race in Spa. A move I tend to agree with. I think it's better. Bear in mind, Spa is a track where people have died. I think it's better to be cautious. I think you don't want a situation where you immediately green flag the race and somebody just can't see. It is a problem with these particular cars. It is a problem for Formula One because somebody said to me on Twitter, didn't they do a trial where they put covers over the wheels to reduce the spray? Yes, they did. But the problem is not necessarily coming from the tyres. It's coming from the fact it comes up from underneath the car. And you can't do covers around the whole car. It particularly comes from the diffuser at the back, the spray. So, Rosie, what you need is wet, but not too wet. The minute the rain properly comes down, it's the spray, it's the visibility that's the issue. Again, we've just really got to hope that that's a bit better in the new era because it is a problem for F1 at the moment and there's not necessarily an obvious solution.
F1 is so high maintenance, isn't it? Like, what
Yeah.
other sport is like, you need it a bit wet, but it can't be too wet, guys. There's a bit too much rain. Also, have you seen the gif about the wet tyres? That always goes around during a wet race. It's like, we're here, lads.
Yeah, but again, the problem is they cut through the water better, but they create so much spray. So they're effectively the blue striped
What's the point
wet
in
weather.
them?
Well, they're pretty much only really there to run behind the safety car to clear water off the track, is the ultimate position of where we are. It is an issue. It is something the FIA are looking at. I have sympathy for them. It's a difficult problem, but we need wet racing where it's a bit damp as opposed to full on raining because this era of car creates too much spray.
Bring on 2026 is what I say, Christian.
Well, hopefully it'll be better, but there's no guarantee.
Oh, fingers crossed. F1 commentator Alex Jakes is going to be with you on our race debrief, by the way. So if anyone has got any questions for him, and he is absolutely brilliant, by the way, so drop us a message on Insta, and then Christian can ask him some questions. He's got some amazing insight, doesn't he? And that's Fast Curious Pod on all of our socials. We are going to take a quick break, but then we'll be back.
Before we get back to today's episode of The Fast and the Curious, if all of this Formula One talk has got you craving a trip to a Grand Prix, good news, we can help, or rather our friends at Gulliver's Travel can help. If you're a regular listener, you'll have heard us talk about them by now. We genuinely think these guys are absolutely brilliant at getting you to a Grand Prix and removing all faff from getting to and from a Grand Prix. There are so many different travel and ticket packages throughout the whole season, including the final race of the season at Abu Dhabi. And the way the championship's hotting up at the moment, that could be an absolute cracker. What an event to be at. I know it feels like a long way off, but trust me, there will be thousands of people trying to get to that race, so you might as well let Gulliver's put in all the work for you so you can relax. If you head to their website, gulliverstravel.co.uk, you will see your whole trip laid out in front of you. You've got your 4-night hotel stays in Dubai, Abu Dhabi or Yas Island, and that includes breakfast, something to me that is as important as the race itself. Knowing I'm going to get up and have coffee and a good breakfast waiting for me, that's important. You also get your grandstand tickets, and someone from Gulliver's will be with you every step of the way to make sure the only thing you have to worry about is enjoying the Grand Prix. So a reminder of that website, gulliverstravel.co.uk. There is also a link to that website in the description of this very episode. Welcome back to The Fast and the Curious. We are previewing the Hungarian Grand Prix. I'm Christian Hugill. This is Betty Glover. Betty.
Hello.
I got some fun. I thought it had been far too long on the podcast since we did a game. So I've invented a game. I think you're going to love it. Right. Now, are you aware, Betty, that there has only ever been one Hungarian Formula One driver?
Yeah. No,
Don't say yes.
I didn't actually know that. No.
Thank you. Right, good. That man is called Zsolt Bamgartner. Now,
Bamgartner. Fantastic name.
Which is why I've come up with the Fast and the Curious's new quiz show feature, Bamgartner or Bust. Woo!
Jesus. Right, okay, go on then.
Betty, Bamgartner or Bust is an extremely high-stakes game, and I shall tell you for why. I'm about to ask you 5 questions about the Formula One driver and only Hungarian Formula One driver, Zsolt Bamgartner. If you get
What
3
year
out...
did he drive? Can I ask?
This might come up. This
Right,
might
okay.
come up. It was around the 2000s.
Right.
If you get 3 out of the 5 right, and then multiple choice, one lucky listener will win the Fast and the Curious cap.
Oh no, so I've got to do this for the listeners.
And the person that will win the Fast and the Curious cap, remember before the break, I made a point of saying that It's OJ28 won the Christian's Question of the Week award for asking what we would do if we were each other for a day.
Yeah.
Well, It's OJ28 for doing Question of the Week will win a Fast and Curious cap if you get 3 out of 5. If you don't get 3 out of 5, bust. Won't give him a cap. It's Bamgartner or bust. Are you ready?
Oh God. Okay, yeah, fine.
It's a great feature, isn't it? I'm genuinely hoping this leads to a television pilot. Right, okay. Bamgartner or bust. Question number 1. Zsolt Bamgartner was born on which public holiday in 1981? Is it A, New Year's Day? Is it B, Christmas Day? Or is it C, the ever popular holiday, the 20th day of August, St. Stephen's Day, which is a public holiday in Hungary in memory of the state's founding member and founder, King St. Stephen? A, B, or C?
What was right, hold on.
New Year's Day,
well,
Christmas
it could be any
Day,
of these, really, couldn't it?
or St. Stephen's Day? Bamgartner or bust? Exclusive to the Fast and the Curious.
A.
Correct! New Year's Day.
That was just a
1
stab in the
point.
dark.
You're a third of the way to winning our listener a Fast and Curious cap.
By the way, that is a very bad day to have a birthday.
New Year's Day, yeah, it really isn't it? Everyone's
It
hungover.
couldn't get
no one's
any
doing
worse. I
awful.
think that's the
Poor old
worst.
Zsolt.
Poor old Zsolt.
Question number 2. Zsolt Bamgartner was born in Debrecen, Hungary's second largest city. Apologies if I've got that name wrong or pronounced it wrong. But, and you should know this, what is its telephone dialing code? Is it A, 52, B, 62, or C, 72?
72.
Oh, it's the wrong answer, Betty. I'm afraid it's 52. So you're still on 1. You need to be on 3. Question number 3. Zsolt Bamgartner scored his only Formula One point in the 2004 US Grand Prix. Again, you'll probably know this. But why did Mark Webber retire from that race? Was it A, a gearbox failure, B, an accident, or C, an oil leak?
I don't actually know this. I should know this, but I don't.
Why on earth do you know how Mark Webber retired from the 2004 United States Grand Prix?
I don't know. What, a leak?
A gearbox failure, an accident, or an oil leak? Play along at home, by the way. Let us know how many points you got out of 5.
I'm worried for this lad's hat here because let's go for a gearbox.
I'm sorry, it was wrong. It was an oil leak.
Oh,
That means it's incredibly high stakes. You need to get the next 2 right to win the cap. Okay.
I hate games like this.
No, they're great. They're really good. In the latter part of his career, Zsolt drove in the British open-wheel single-seater motor racing formula, Super League Formula, which had professional teams named and sponsored by professional football clubs. But who did he drive for? A, AC Milan, B, Tottenham Hotspur, or C, FC Basel?
Right, I'm ruling out Tottenham Hotspur.
Interesting. Why?
But I just feel like I would have heard that. Okay. Maybe. FC Basel.
It's the wrong answer. It's bust, I'm afraid. It's not Bamgartner, it's bust. It's Tottenham. Yeah, it is Tottenham.
It is Tottenham.
All three of those teams did compete in that league.
Oh.
This was years ago. Finally, might as well do the last one. Zsolt drove for 2 Formula One teams in his 20-race career, but which team did he not drive for? Jordan, Minardi, or Jaguar?
Jaguar.
Is right. I'm afraid it doesn't help. You got 2 out of 5, and therefore I'm really sorry to our question of the week winner. It is bust. There is no Fast and Curious cap being given away. Did you enjoy
Sorry.
Bamgartner or bust?
Yeah, I learned a lot about Bamgartner, to be fair.
Zolt Bamgartner there, the only...
And that could have gone a lot worse, can I just say?
Could have gone a lot worse. Could have gone a lot worse. And just while I'm leading the podcast with this brilliant content, I also need to make a confession to you. I messed up Betty's Radio Radar in your absence, and thank you to the comments on social media for pointing this out to me. I said that when Charles Leclerc came on the race engineer and said to get on the radio and said to his race engineer Brian, "I'm getting too much information." I said that
this, yeah.
Brian bit back and said, sometimes I get told I'm giving too much, sometimes it's not enough. It was actually Charles who said that, not Brian. I completely messed that up and misheard it, proving... And poor old Molly doesn't get the TV coverage, so gets loads of race radio from sitting in the press room, so she hadn't heard that particular bit either. So it just proves that I'm not capable of doing Radio Radar without you. And I'd like to wish you a full and frank apology. I messed that up. And that's why we need you on this podcast.
Do you know what, Christian? Only certain people with a certain skill set can do Radio Radar.
No, I'm not there. And I appreciate that.
You might be one day.
I may know more about Zolt Bamgartner than you, but I can't do Radio Radar.
Did he score just 1 point?
1 point, yeah.
1 point. Oh, love that for him. Right, we are going to get onto the Hungarian Grand Prix preview in a second. But before we do that, our race previews are usually pretty bad, aren't they? So new producer Will sort of took it upon himself to give us some facts to talk about because he thought, do you know what, Betty and Christian can't do this without my facts. And he was right.
He was right. I didn't know any of these things. These are great facts.
And also, by the way, I just want to say, Jimmy is still around. We haven't got rid of him, but we've also just got Will as well.
And Fiona and Billy as well.
Fiona.
Nicola's still on social. Greg's still about. Greg's not died.
We're just expanding, guys.
Yeah, we're just, you know. So, there's a veritable smorgasbord of producers. Let us know which your favourite is of Jimmy.
Right, go on. You read the first one.
Fiona or Billy. Hungary is a first race win hotspot with Fernando Alonso, Heikki Kovalainen, Esteban Ocon, Oscar Piastri last year winning their first races here. But, would you like to know the really exciting thing? Jenson Button also won his first race in Hungary.
I know.
And I have a model of this car. Would you like to see it?
No.
Yeah, you would. Just Phil, I'll go and get it.
I was actually... Oh, he's gone. He's gone. He's taken his headphones off. He's gone to get his model car. This is what I have to deal with, guys. I just don't like model cars. I don't see the point. I just don't see the point.
I'm back. Back.
Great.
Oh, I've knocked my cap. Hang on. It's the excitement of it all. Look at this beauty. Now, this one comes with a Dinky Jensen. Look, for those watching on YouTube. Got a Dinky Jensen, who I'll put on there for the rest of the podcast. And look at this beauty. Got to be careful. This is an actual 1:18 scale model of Jensen's first ever win in Hungary. Look at that. Betty, describe it for the lovely people listening.
It is nice, I guess. It's quite big, this model car.
Well, it's 1:18 scale. It's the BAR. It's the Honda BAR livery. It's got the Michelin blue stripe tyres on.
Can I just say, I love that livery, by the way. That's one. I just think it's iconic.
Great livery.
So nice.
So thank you for Will for putting that in, because it's an excuse for me to show off a model.
Earlier, I was watching videos of Jensen's win.
Oh, great moment. One of my all-time favourite F1 moments. Brilliant. Lovely. Fact 2. After a tough few rounds for Kimi Antonelli, Hungary will bring back good memories of the F2 feature race last year from P7 on the grid. Very good considering that it's Monaco without corners. Yeah, I mean, Will, does that mean he did a lot of overtaking? What, did he win that race? Will says he won that race. Yeah, so he won from P7 on the grid. That makes sense, yeah. Because people say that Hungary is Monaco without corners, that you can't overtake. Well, Kimi Antonelli proved you can, winning from
P7.
P7, yeah, great. Well done, Kimi.
That was an iconic win for him, actually. I wonder whether this is going to be a good race for Kimi Antonelli. He can use that confidence. He's good on this track. Maybe he's going to come back. Right, go on, next one.
This one is brilliant. Fernando turned 44 on Tuesday.
That's just ridiculous, lads. 44?
This is now a win would place him 5th, only 5th on the old. Yeah, but they were all old in the olden days, and the oldest driver to win a race rankings behind a bunch of drivers from the 50s. The oldest being, I haven't got my glasses on, Luigi Fagioli. At 53 years, 22 days at the 1951 French Grand Prix. 44, Fernando. What a legend.
What I don't understand is how he's managed to maintain this level for such a long time.
Incredible.
You know, like most professional athletes, they sort of get to like between sort of 35 and 39. Like not many people make it into their 40s today. There's of course the exceptions, but just like maintaining that level for such a long time. 44 years old. He must be so fit still.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And the final fact is that the new owners of Istanbul Park, so they're ready to host and are in conversation with the FIA and F1 if there's a dropout for 2026 and they want a permanent spot in the future. I would welcome F1 going back to Turkey. That's a good track. So I like that. I've got no say in it, but I'm backing that. I'd like to formally back the Turkey bid. It's a good track.
Why?
It's just a good track.
Other than good track.
Can't offer any more analysis than that. It's just a good track. I like seeing us go to different places. So yeah, why not? Let's have a race at Istanbul Park.
Perfect. Well, I'm quite excited for the Hungarian Grand Prix. I'm a bit apprehensive in a way because of the lack of overtaking, which does worry me a little bit. And it does mean that really, if we're doing predictions, you're stupid if you don't have either Lando or Oscar coming first.
Yeah, maybe. Just before we move on, Will, thank you for those predictions. I think that can be a thing. I'd like to call that feature Tyrrell's Titbits because Will's surname is Tyrrell.
Tyrrell's Crisps.
Not Tyrrell's Crisps, Tyrrell's Titbits. Titbits of information. That's a thing, isn't it? Titbits.
Will, are you related to the person that made Tyrrell's Crisps?
No, Will's
that'd
not.
be good.
No, I don't.
You wouldn't be working on this podcast if he was, to be fair.
No, he wasn't. No, I wonder if any of the F1 geeks will spot the person Will is related to. Anyway, yeah, the predictions. So, all right, I'm going to go for a really dull prediction in that case. I think it'll be Oscar from Lando from Charles. It's quite a dull prediction, but I tend to think that's good analysis from you, Betty. But it has thrown up good Grand Prix in recent years.
So I've been thinking a lot about this, right?
Oh, yeah.
The difference between Oscar and Lando. Okay. And
One's Australian.
Yeah, I feel like Oscar is really good when it's a high-speed track, and Lando's better when it's a slower track and a bit more twisty. And therefore, I think Lando could probably win this one. I also want to throw Hamilton into the ring, because he's the king around this track. And
I'd love a first Lewis podium.
Yeah, I think maybe Hamilton third. I also think Verstappen will probably do well as well. But I'm going to go Lando, Oscar, Lewis.
And I'm going to go Oscar, Lando, Charles. And whenever I predict whichever McLaren driver to win, the other one always does.
They're sort of flip-flopping quite a lot, aren't they? Because you would go, well, Oscar's got the momentum at the moment. But I feel like this is when we see Lando go like, right, hold on, I'm going to come back now. Regular
listeners will know Oscar was the first thing we ever recorded on this podcast. Our first day one recording date was an interview with Oscar. He's probably been our most frequent guest. We're very much Oscar fans on this podcast. Lando comes on as well. We love Lando. In what could be a true first for the Fast and the Curious, because me and Molly both said we had some sympathy for Lando last weekend, this podcast got a lot of comments saying, oh, it's English bias in favour of Lando, and we're anti-Oscar. That is a full circle moment for this podcast that we got accused of being anti-Oscar Piastri.
But sorry, by the way, Oscar was my prediction to win the World Championship this season.
Oh yeah.
No one else said that.
It's this thing at the moment where if you say Lando's had a bad weekend, you are overly harsh on Lando. If you say you have some sympathy for him, you're not being harsh enough. And if you're British and you praise a British driver, you are British bias. That's a thing in Formula One this season. So yeah, every time I state an opinion on Lando Norris, I'm either too hard on him, not hard enough, or I'm British bias. So yeah, that's that. I can't do much about that, I'm afraid. But yeah, us being anti-Oscar was a new one for this podcast.
We couldn't be any less anti-Oscar if we tried. We are so in Oscar. It's unbelievable.
Pardon?
We are so pro-Oscar, it's unbelievable.
What did you say before?
don't know.
What an episode we've had. Right, that's it, isn't it? I think this has been good.
I just need to go to sleep,
You
honestly.
do. That's two. That's two in this episode. Right, I'm back on Sunday to debrief the Hungarian Grand Prix. Betty's working in Saudi Arabia, so it's our last before the summer break. Alex Jakes, F1 TV and Channel 4 commentator, will be with us. Lovely, such a lovely man. So we're looking forward to that. Betty, see you after. Well, I'll speak to you before then because we talk to each other outside of this podcast, but we'll see you after the summer break.
We will, unless something massive happens, then we'll be back during the summer break.
Yeah,
guys.
there'll probably be an emergency episode. Greg James sends his love as well. Greg will be back at some point after the summer break to pop in and say hello, as he does. And we will be back on Sunday with a debrief of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Enjoy the race. Betty, enjoy Saudi Arabia.
Good luck, sunshine. See
Thanks,
you later.
mate. Bye,
Bye.
guys.